Sorry, you just caught me doing my facial exercises there. You know, it doesn't matter what you do in life, if you could be a gymnast or an athlete or whatever, you need to be fit for what you're doing. And you know, making videos on YouTube is no different. It can take it out of you, and you've got to get those facial muscles in good tone to be able to get through some of the longer videos. One of the things I recommend for that actually is some of Pastor Jerry's videos. Take a look.
Yes, yo, don't stop. 1, 2, yo, don't stop. Yes, yes, yo, don't stop. 1, 2, yo, don't stop. Yes, yes, yo, don't stop. 1, 2, yo, don't stop. Yes, yes, yo, don't stop. 1, 2, yo, don't stop.
Come on, let's work.
Okay, well, joking aside, Pastor Jerry is really quite a remarkable person. More remarkable than you actually probably realise. You know, they used to say, before I was born, people a bit older than me used to say everybody knew where they were when JFK was shot because it was such a significant event. Perhaps a more recent kind of version of that would be the World Trade Center, when the planes flew into the World Trade Center. Everybody knows where they were when they first heard that news. You know, imagine if God actually revealed himself to you. Imagine if God actually spoke to you. I mean, if it happened, if something that incredible happened, I think you'd probably remember when it happened, don't you? But Pastor Jerry is just such an amazing person. Well, we'll have a look at this clip.
The Lord revealed to me earlier this week, possibly last week, I can't remember the exact day. I know it was in the morning time.
I think that's got to be one of the most remarkable clips I've ever seen. How can God speak to you? You can't even remember what day it happened. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? The laughter needs to stop there. Pastor Jerry has a very serious message that he makes in this video, and in my view it's a very sinister, very selfish and very wicked message that he makes. So let's get on to the serious stuff now. Back to Pastor Jerry.
I want to read to you from John chapter 15, verse 16. Jesus said, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain. That whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give you. These things I command you, that you love one another. Love is a commandment of God." And this might be a news flash to you, but Jesus just said, "You didn't choose me, but I chose you." Praise God for being part of the chosen ones, the ones that Jesus selected, the ones that he handpicked out.
You see, Pastor Jerry is very happy and very smug about being one of Jesus' chosen few, because this is what Pastor Jerry believes, that we don't choose Christ. We don't come to Christ. No, Christ chooses us. And what of those that Christ doesn't choose? Well, we know what Pastor Jerry's views are from his other videos. The rest of them are going to burn in hell for all of eternity. Now I can tell you, I'm a moral person, but even if you look at people who aren't very moral, if you subject somebody to an image that's sufficiently graphic, sufficiently horrible, sufficiently terrible, eventually they'll reach a breaking point. They'll reach a point where they actually just start vomiting. They won't be able to actually stop themselves from physically being sick. Now, if I knew that people were going to go and burn in hell for all of eternity, and eternity is a very long time, you know. Somebody gave the example the other day, if you have a teaspoonful of water, there's as many atoms in that teaspoon of water as there are teaspoons of water in the Atlantic Ocean. Incredible that, isn't it, how small an atom is? Well, you know, think how many atoms must be in the Atlantic Ocean. Well, you know, Pastor Jerry, if I did a year of suffering in hell for every atom that's in the Atlantic Ocean, my suffering would still have only just begun. And you know, if hell was real, if it really existed, if I knew, if somebody could tell me, if somebody could prove to me that hell really existed, I can tell you what would happen. I would break down on the spot and start vomiting. Not just for myself, because I would then have time to earn salvation, but for all the other people that weren't going to get into heaven. I would start vomiting. I would turn white as a sheet. I would never be able to come to terms with the thought. But what's your response, Pastor Jerry? What's your response to this?
Praise God for being part of the chosen ones, the ones that Jesus selected.
You see, this is the difference between you and I. I don't know whether you really believe what you say, but if you really believe what you say, you must be a wicked and evil individual, because all you seem to be bothered about is smugly proclaiming the fact that you're going to go to heaven.
Praise God for being part of the chosen ones, the ones that Jesus selected.
You don't seem to spare a thought for anybody else. You don't seem to spend a thought for the terrible, terrible suffering which is going to be inflicted upon billions and billions of people. You don't seem to give a shit.
Praise God for being part of the chosen ones, the ones that Jesus selected.
How can you not give a shit? How can you be so callous? How can you be so selfish, so self-centered and so smug in your approach? Praise Jesus, I'm part of the team. I'm not going to burn in hell for eternity. Look at my beaming, nasty smile. That's a selfish and wicked and horrible approach you have. And you know what, Pastor Jerry, it's not as if you can come back to me and say, well, Jim, you know, you should choose Christ. You should welcome Christ into your life and be saved, because in your doctrine I don't get to choose Christ. Christ chooses me, and if Christ doesn't choose me, if Christ doesn't put me on his team as he has done with you, then I am without hope. I'm just going to burn in hell for all of eternity, and that's just tough luck. And you, my friend, don't give a shit about it. For everybody else watching this video, for everybody else with a grain of humanity, for anybody else with any kind of morality out there, thank you for watching this video. For Pastor Jerry, I have no message.